Hello guys, so I'm going to come on here to do, I guess the inspiration video. Again, I don't have anything down. This was just something that was on my mind, and it's been on my mind for a while about coming on here and talking about it, but I haven't got to it yet. So I figured since I hadn't jotted anything down on my little notebook that I'll talk about it today. And it's like raining here, like really bad, and it's like dark outside, so hear the thunder? Yeah. So, I don't even know what the title's going to be of this yet. It's basically going to be talking about, like, I guess spirits. I guess a lot of people, I know a lot of people probably don't believe in it, but if you believe in God, then, you know, of course, there has to be a devil and, like, you know, evilness out there in the world. So, we experienced this about, around in 04. I had just gotten married, and we, stayed here with his grandma for a while, and I was pregnant, and then we had purchased or bought a house. Actually, it was a trailer, but anyways, in a small area, and we moved in there, and at first it was okay, but like the first few weeks afterwards, it started getting a little bit weird. And my husband would work like during the day and stay gone to like maybe 4 or 5. So during the day, I was there by myself like 24/7, and I was like, I was 17, so I was still young, and you know, the whole thing was different to me. But so I noticed in there, it sort of felt weird at times, like sort of like an eerie feeling, but I didn't think nothing much of it. So after that being said, the first experience that I ever had was when like I had went to sleep and he was asleep too, and I had woke up. It was like I was awake, but I was awake, but I could not move. Like my whole body was like paralyzed. And I remember trying to yell for Justin to help me, and like I was awake, guys, but I could not move. Nothing would come out. It was like I was just speechless. So I dealt with that for a while, and it would occur like ever so often. Like I couldn't move, I couldn't wake up, my heart would be like pounding out of my chest, and I done that for a few weeks. And then I had another episode where we had like a gun on the end, like of like the, I guess the table that was beside our bed, and which I don't really like guns. They just freak me out. I've always been that way. I don't know, you know, my dad had them all the time, like when I was growing up, but I never been one to like guns. They just freak me out. I mean, they're good if you need them, like for hunting, or, you know, if you're a policeman or something like that, but I don't like them. So there was a gun there, and like I had another spell where I was like, he had went to work and I couldn't get up, I couldn't move, and honest to God, this is no lie, it felt as if my body got out of myself, and I was floating through the trailer. Like I could feel myself just floating through there. It's crazy, I know, but guys, this happened. And I could feel like fog coming in. It was weird. It was like you could see it. I don't know if I was having a vision of this or if it was really happening to me. I think it was really happening after when you put one and one together, and everything that I'll tell you afterwards, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So that literally freaked me out. And I had told Justin, I think first I told my grandma, I said, something's not right here in this trailer. I said, and it was it was like a new trailer, like somebody previously had lived in it, but like it was brand new. So, I mean, you wouldn't think that spirits would be in there. So, after that episode, I had told my grandma, and she's like, well, just pray about it. You know, maybe you're just watching scary movies, or, you know, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, no, something's wrong here. I feel it. I sense it. And it was a weird weariness feeling in there. It was just awful. So we stayed there. I guess like a month or so had went on. And one night, me and Justin was reading in the Bible, like he was reading it out loud or something, and I was sitting up, and I was like, Lord, I was probably like 6 or 7 months pregnant. I stayed sick like all the time, deathly sick. And so he was in there reading the Bible and stuff, and this is no lie, we heard like a scratching sound at the back of her, like the bed where we was sleeping or laying. And I was like, what the crap is that? And he's like, well, it could be something outside, because there were like ducks and stuff that the neighbors had that would always like make racket and stuff. But it wasn't that. It was a screeching noise coming from the back end of her bed. So he had got up, stopped reading the Bible, went out there and checked. Nothing was out there. Came back in and done it again. I'm like, what the crap is this, guys? Well, I'm like, it's something in this house. It really is. So he looked behind the bed, the headboard of the bed, and there was nothing there. We stopped reading the Bible, and the noise went away, okay? Yeah. There was like our bedroom, and then the bathroom, and we had like this big old like bathtub, and it had like it was huge. I mean, it was lovely, but just the whole freaking crap that went on in that house freaked me out. And then there was like in the way back, there was another room, which was going to be Caitlin's room, but luckily we didn't stay there. So I had all of the baby stuff in there, and then in the living room was just a wide open space. And this is no lie, the only place that I got peace, like it didn't bother me as much, was in the living room. I would stay in the living room, watch TV, and I will never forget, I sat and watched, we had borrowed some, like we didn't have cable because we were like, kind of broke at the time. So we had, like, I had borrowed these DVDs from this lady at church, from the church that I used to grow up at, and like we had been going there. It was Little House on the Prairie, and we had like the whole, like, episodes of them. So I would sit there and watch them, and I would, like, everything would be fine until we'd go back in that back bedroom, and then you could feel it. I'd have the dreams, but to me it wasn't a dream. That crap was really happening. I could not move. I could not get up. It was, it was real. So needless to say, we had talked to several people, and we prayed about it. I even had people to pray for her house. That sounds crazy, but that crap was tormenting. It was a tormenting spirit. And so needless to say, we eventually had moved back here because my husband's grandma was getting sick. So all that crap was going on, and it just made it easier for me to say, yeah, we can come back here and stay. That's why we had to move, because I could not deal with that. It was just too much. It was freaking me out. And it was just an awful, awful experience ever. And so we moved back. But let me stop it right here for a minute. Okay. So, and this is no lie, the first few weeks that we lived there, guys, there was, like, we were outside talking to the neighbors, because, we was trying to get to know people and stuff, which the neighbors that was directly beside us was like, Lord, they were probably in their 50s, maybe, like, older people, which, that's fine. I tend to grow, I'm near, like, closer to older people for some reason. I've never been, I don't know. That's just how we are. And so we were out there, and we heard this wreck. I mean, it was like right in front of our house. Like, there was like a little dirt, well, it wasn't a dirt road, it was a pavement road, but it was like right there. Lo and behold, it was a child. This girl was probably like 9 or 10. I was pregnant, okay? And they say you're not supposed to see all this kind of bad stuff when you're pregnant. It could like scar the baby, or hurt you, make you have a miscarriage or whatever. So we seen a 9 or 10-year-old girl get hit by a car. Yeah, this crap happened. So here I am in my mind, like, didn't think like what to do. Oh my God, what, is she okay? The girl was like it hit her head, so she was out of it. So Justin had ran up to her, and all of the neighbors had ran up to her, and like we were looking and like telling her not to move, but she was out. She didn't even know. And they had to fly her out of there. It, like, the whole thing in that area was crazy, okay? So Justin sat there with her. I backed away because I was pregnant. I didn't, like, stuff like that really bothers me. Like, so I was trying to pray in my mind for the little girl to be okay, which she she was okay, you know, afterwards. Sorry, excuse me. But it was crazy. The whole experience was crazy. And I think it was an old man that couldn't see or something had hit her. And the whole bike, and I know this is off subject, but this just goes in with the story, was like crushed up. And that was just weird for us to have moved there and this kind of crap happened. I'm like, okay, we're having a little girl and somebody got hit here on this road. I'm like, oh my God, what are we going to do here? Is this a bad environment? You know. So, like I said, the little girl was fine. So, after that, after we had moved out of that place back here to his grandma's house, which is our house now, you know, I was so glad to be out of there. Didn't have any more of the episodes to where I couldn't breathe. I was trying to wake up and trying to holler for Justin. That crap went away. So, needless to say, the tormenting spirit was in that back bedroom. Honest to God, even he sensed it. At first, he didn't want to believe it. See, I was raised Pentecostal. He was raised Baptist. Now, I'm not knocking on any kind of religion here, but I was raised of, like, you know, I was taught about, like, you know, the evil spirits, this and that and the other, which I guess Baptist people know too, but I knew a whole lot about it. And plus, I have the discernment of the spirit. Like, I can sense crap off people. If they're good or bad or, like, you know, eerie feeling, I've got that. And I'm not bragging by that by no means, because even if you are blessed with that, there comes a lot with it. It's like you feel this crap off people, and it's weird and it's freaky and it scares you from time to time, but you got to know, you know, you got God on your side. So, and here I am rambling because I didn't write it down. If I don't write stuff down, I tend to ramble a lot. But, so that was, you know, we moved here, all that stuff stopped. Come to find out, and this right here just backs up everything. Let me get another sip of my coffee, guys, because I need it. I'm tired. But that, after all that was said and done, it came out. We had went back to check on, like, our other neighbors that lived on the other side of us. Come to find out, the guy that lived there in that house, the trailer that we lived in, okay, he had shot a man, okay? Shot a man in the freaking head and killed him. Yeah. So, that's what I'm saying. Those spirits from that guy or whoever the crap, whatever the crap it was evilness, eerie feeling, it was still in that home. And I'm assuming it come off from the guy that shot the man, and I guess the guy that's deceased. I don't know. But that spirit was in there. So I said, see, Justin, I said, I told you there was something wrong in there. I told you something was not right. And the whole time he was like, you know, it's just in your mind. You're just, you know, make believe in it or something. But no, that crap happened and I experienced it. And then it kind of opened up his eyes that, you know, yeah, you were right, honey. But it was just crazy. And so if y'all are if you ever experience any crap like that, you need to, I don't know what to tell you. Pray about it. If you're in a house that's that way, Lord Jesus, I don't know. But guys, it was messed up and it was scary. So, and I don't even know why I wanted to come on here. I guess just some people go through stuff like that and they don't understand it and they're afraid to talk about it because it's weird. Yes, it's weird. But this girl here, I'm not afraid to talk about it because I experienced it. You know, there's been plenty of times when, you know, just weird stuff had happened. Like we were at this church, and I'm not going to mention no names of the church because, you know, I'm just not. Some of my people on here watches my channel. I'm not just going to go into all that kind of details and crap. But, and this happened years ago. So we were at this church, me and my mother-in-law, and the people in there were wonderful. It was just an old country church, you know, great church. And I would go with her and visit that church and stuff. In particular, there was this lady, and something about her was not right. I kept telling my mother-in-law, something's off here, something's not right. I feel it, there's spirits here, spirits in this lady, something ain't right. I just had that, you know, feeling. So we kept going and kept going because I enjoyed going there and hearing the preacher and stuff, and I liked the people there. And, you know, I'm social. I like going to different churches and, you know, seeing everybody and, you know, helping others out and stuff like that. So that's what we done. And I kept telling her something's not right, something's not right. And at the time, Isaiah was, he was a baby. Like, he was a month old, little bitty. Every time I'd go to that church, this lady would come up to me wanting to hold my son. You know, if I know someone, I'm fine to let them hold my child. If it's church family or if I feel like it's okay. So, you know, I'm like, you know, okay, she's sitting right here, go ahead. So, needless to say, she held him and, you know, he started crying, so I got the baby back. Every time we would go there, she would want to hold him, okay? So I'm like, you know, this is weird for me. So, you know, I was breastfeeding at the time, so I was not like lying or nothing. I'm like, you know, I got to feed my baby and this, that, and the other. So we kept going to church there, and some other things had occurred. The preacher had told me that I was going to be, like, I was called to be a preacher, and in the service, the preacher told me this. And I looked at him out loud and said, "No, sir, you're wrong." I said, "I'm called to sing, and I've got the gift of prophecy." Okay? So that was a silent moment for the church. But you know what you're called. I'm not called to be a preacher, a woman preacher. I'm not knocking off on women preachers, not doing any of that, because, you know, some of them may be that way. But me, myself, that's not my gift. I'm not called to be a woman preacher. Singing, testifying, and I have the gift of prophecy. So that threw me off. For a preacher to tell me and look me in the eyes and say, "God said you're going to be a woman preacher." I knew then and there that was wrong. Okay? So that was another thing that I checked off my list. Something's not right here. So I didn't go back for like a week or two. Me and my mother-in-law had went back again. This is no lie. Okay, so they had called, this is like it's a Baptist church, but it's / Church of God. So you have the mixture of quietness, you got the mixture of, like, you know, the hand raising, sometimes shouting, speaking in tongues, what have you. So everyone got called to the front, and why do I keep leaning in? It's like I'm getting closer and closer to you all. I need to lean back here. So everybody got called to the front there and was asked for everybody to hold hands and pray. So that we did. It was me, my mother-in-law, everybody around in a circle, everybody praying. Patty looked at me, I looked at her. The lady that had asked to hold my son, and this is no lie, her face, you know, regular face here, like, you know, has like color to it. Her face turned like a grayish, whitish, palish look, and she looked like an old lady with demons. Like, you could see it. Her face from here down turned gray. And it was the evilest, most scariest feeling I have ever seen in my life. I looked at my mother-in-law. I said, "Did you just see that?" She looked at me and she said, "Yes." So there, I wasn't crazy. I wasn't thinking this crap up in my mind. What you have to be, you can see this stuff, but if you're in the spiritual realm and you know these types of things, you know what's what and what's what. So I said, "Oh my God, Patty." And I was whispering this to her while everybody was praying. I said, "I'm getting out of here. I don't want to be here. Stuff in this church is not right, and I don't want no part of it." So she took me by the hand and she's like, "No," she says, "you can't run from this. You need to start rebuking the devil and pleading the blood of Jesus until we get out of here." So that we did. We stayed there. We prayed. That lady, I didn't look back at her again because, you know, it was just an awfulest look I have ever seen. It was like her face turned gray. And the pastor had told her that she was also going to be a preacher, okay? Scratch. So, needless to say, I think we had went back one more time. I did. I think my mother-in-law had went back several times after me, but I was done. My time there was done, and the lights are flickering. How crazy is that? It's thundering out here. So I didn't go back. My mother-in-law went back a few times. The lady that had the gray face that wanted to hold my son, she kept saying she was pregnant, right? Every bit of that was a lie. So it was weird to me, like, what kind of lady is she? Was she, like, claiming to be pregnant where she could get, you know, a kid? You know, stuff like that goes through your mind. You don't know these kind of people, who they are, what they are. And that was just a very eye-awakening experience to me. If you have these types of feelings, it's like evilness and stuff like that, guys, listen, you need to start, like, rebuking the devil and pleading the blood, because this crap's real. And I know this is different for my channel, but I don't know. I felt like talking about it, and stuff like that is real. There's spirits in this world, and they're weird. Real, I mean. They're weird too, but so if you're saved and if you have the blood of Jesus in your life, you know, that stuff can come at you and you can feel it, but it can't harm you because God's got you covered. So, you know, I know it's scary, but don't be afraid of it. And if any of you all have ever experienced that stuff and you don't know and you're afraid to talk about it, you need to talk about it, because there's something behind it, and there's something, God is trying to warn you what that's about. So that's like God showing you that crap to let you know, look, something's wrong, something ain't right, you know, you don't need to be here, get out of this place. And that I did. And that in particular preacher, I knew the whole time he was making up, like, different things of the church that wasn't even right. You know, it was like he was just literally making them up. I'm like, you know, you can't go in a church and say, look, you're going to be this, you're going to be this. You have to be called of God to do so. You have to be, that gift has to be placed on your life to be able to say, you know, God has called you to do this. If God's not called me to be a preacher, I don't have that gift. I can try to do it, but it will be in vain. It will not go nowhere. So I saw all of that crap being opened up to me, and it was God revealing it to me. The Lord will show you. And so if any of you all are experiencing any of those types of things, like anything in a house, you know, like, I'm not saying the spirits would, like, open and shut doors like you'd see on TV. It was just a eeriness feeling. And it would torment me in my sleep and in that back bedroom. And it didn't happen a whole lot, but when it happened, it was awful. And it was just, I mean, it was craziness. So guys, if any of you all experience that, just talk to someone about it, pray about it, go to your preacher, do something, because the Lord's wanting to reveal to you what this crap's about. So I don't even know why I'm talking about that, but guys, it happens. And you know, there's different sides to. I guess I could go into a different subject on that. Like, you know, I'll just say a little bit before. Like, you know, you can sense the evilness, and also, like, God gives you, like, if something's going to happen or something, like, say for instance, like, Katie was, like, maybe not even a month old, and I was driving back home from my grandma's house, and this road is, like, real straight, and, like, I was going 60 because the speed limit was 60, and 55 or 60, I can't remember, it was one of the two. And so I was driving, you know, well, there was a car in front of me, and his car was there, like, in front of me, and we were going, and then this freaking deer, this is no lie, came barreling right in front of my car, like this. My hands were froze on the steering wheel, okay? I'm like, oh my God, we're going to wreck, going 60 miles an hour down this road. My car, this is no lie, the person in front of me, they kept going, but the deer was right in the middle of us, like, here's them and here's him, so it would have hit me, the deer would. Katie was on the opposite side, because, you know, when you have a baby, like, you're here, you put them on the other side where you can see them and stuff. So I was thinking, oh my God, please don't let us wreck, please don't let this deer hit us. I'm here to tell you, this is the good part of the ways God can, like, intervene his angels and stuff to protect you and stuff. the car, it was a Mitsubishi Galant or something like that. I don't know the whole name of it. But that freaking vehicle moved over. It was like when it went whoosh, like that, and it went over to the other lane. Even the car in front of me, they slowed down and they threw up their hands like, what happened? I'm like, up above, the good Lord on it. So see, if you're saved and if you know God as your personal Savior, and that, you know, he died for you and he rose back for you, you know, he's got you covered, you know. So I don't even know why I threw that part in there, but just if y'all ever experience anything that I talk about, pray about it, go to your pastor, and just get some help, because all that crap, all that stuff's real. It really is. And I know, because like whenever I first experienced, I was afraid to say anything. I'm like, well, Lord, am I making this stuff in my mind, or like, you know, what have you? But you know, that crap really went on. And like I said again, it wasn't like no freaking like doors opening or closing, but that fog that morning when I was like trying to get up and couldn't move, that crap was coming in. It was like, oh my Lord, must have been them spirits or something. I was freaking the crap out. And you know, my mom, she lived at the time almost an hour away from me. So I couldn't just get up and drive down there every day, or her drive down there, because of the freaking gas money. So I was stuck there. So I just done a lot of praying, and finally we got out of there, and needless to say, that guy got killed in there. I guess he's in prison now, but Lord have mercy. But anyways, that is my, I guess, religious subject for this week. I haven't been able to do one. Normally I'll sit down and write things out. But that was on my mind. That's what I wanted to talk about. So guys, those things are real. If you ever experience them, just remember, take heed to it, because the Lord's trying to reveal something to you. And for him to be able to reveal it, you have to accept it and realize something's wrong here. Something's going on. So anyways, until next time, until I get on a different subject, maybe, like I said, it won't be as blunt next time, but I don't normally talk about these types of supernatural things a whole lot, because, I don't know, I've not really experienced a whole lot of them. But that one in particular, I did. So why not? Why not talk about it? You know, this is my channel, and my channel is related on, of course, like Dollar Tree hauls, and like, you know, different types of coffees I like, just me in general. And so this is my life, and I feel like stuff that I've been through, I've always said, without a test, you don't have a testimony. That was part of my test. That was part of something that God put me through, and it was there. It was in front of me. So that's just one of my, I guess, testimonial type things that I wanted to share with you all. So hopefully, if any of you all have experienced any of this kind of stuff, just know that you're not alone, because guys, this happens more than what you would think. So a lot of people don't even talk about it. So until next time, guys, I'll talk to y'all later.